All right, and we are live, Chris.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Facebook Live broadcast of Your Home Show. This is Chris Weniger along with Rebecca Guerrero. What are we doing? This show is all about looking to educate you and advise you on your home, whether you're looking to buy your first house, moving up, moving down, or refinancing.
Yes, welcome back, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to episode 42. We were just discussing in 10 more weeks, we'll be doing this for a full year, which is super exciting to us. Layout of the show, like we normally do, is we will go over the market update of what has changed over the course of the past week in real estate and mortgages. And we do have our guest today of Joe Schulteis with Allied Realty Group, who'll be chatting with us on FHA and VA loan misunderstandings and some things to think about while being a buyer or seller in this current market. So thank you so much, Joe, for joining us. We truly appreciate you on today.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on this morning. But before we kind of get to all your goods, did you know a history fact? 122 years ago in 1899, the aspirin was patented by German researchers Felix Hoffmann and Hermann Dresser. And the aspirin is still popular today. So I thought it was kind of interesting. 122 years ago was when the aspirin first was born. So interesting. But let's kind of roll right into the market update. Boy, what is going on with the market? Unemployment numbers are running at about 10%, meaning 10% of the population is unemployed. Actually, this number has decreased over the last month, which is good news. More and more people are starting to go back to work. Now, the Fed, they're watching closely on the potential for inflation. And why are we watching it? Remember, inflation is the enemy of bonds, which is the enemy of low interest rates. So the potential for rates start to rise, like we have been seeing over the last 2 weeks, is real. Now, keep in mind, rates are still very, very good. So do not let this hinder your decision of purchasing a home. Or if you think you missed out on the refinance boat or whatever, talk to Rebecca and myself to see if you still have a good savings. So let's make sure you get pre-approved on so you don't have to take that aspirin. Pre-approval helps you through all the process of buying a home. So Rebecca, thoughts on that?
Yes, I mean, we've touched on it. Like we said, the past 2 weeks, rates have been rising, but they're still very, very good. So I don't want people to be so nervous that, oh, rates are outrageous. No, they're still lower than they were this time last year. So there's no need to worry about it. We had a big real estate and mortgage market last year, and this is even bigger this year. So prices are good. Employment and income is good. Everything seems to be good except for those rates rising a little bit. So one reminder though, with rates rising, if you are a pre-approved buyer, you would want to reach out to your loan officer again and just make sure that your price point is still a good idea of where you were at pre-approved previously, because the increase in rates does make it so that a purchase price is a little lower in that pre-approval amount. So just make sure and reconnect with them that they've run new numbers for you and that you are still pre-approved at the spot that you were at.
And like Rebecca was saying, the rates are still lower than they were a year ago. So don't let that panic set in just yet.
Yeah, Joe, do you have any thoughts on that?
I always go back to just when my parents used or bought their first house. I mean, everybody's worried about them creeping up, and even if they hit, let's say 4 or 5. When my parents bought their first house in the early 80s, I mean, they were seeing double-digit interest rates, and they weren't even scared off by it. I know that, like, when my dad always used to tell us that, when they bought their first house, they were at about 14 or 15%. And they sold, they had their house paid off in the first 7 years, because so interest rates just creeping up that little bit should not scare people off. Hopefully we'll never see the double digit interest rates ever again, but just keep on looking and just make sure that you don't put yourself or price yourself out of it as well. And I tell all my other buyers, just because you're pre-approved for a certain amount doesn't mean you should go that high. You should make it so that way you're going into a place that you are comfortable with. You know that you can pay every month. So.
Yeah, makes total sense to me and Chris, that's for sure. I mean, for example, I started being a licensed loan officer 3 years ago this month. And when I first started, interest rates were at almost like just over 5%. So in 3 years, they have come down like 2 full percentage points or more. So there's not, I don't understand why people are so nervous about it. Yes, you should be looking back at your pre-approval amount, making sure you're still pre-approved, but interest rates have gone down 2 full percentage points since 3 years ago. So they are very, very low.
A quick walk down memory lane. In May of 2000, I was writing loans at a 30-year fixed at 8.875, and we were busy. We were busy. And ever since then, it trickled down, down, down. So
Yeah, so all is good. I think we're still very, very good. Well, Joe, thanks again for being on our show. We are super excited for you to tell us some of your knowledge so that we can avoid a headache about the aspirin headache later on in the process. But before we get into that information, we always ask our guests these 2 questions first so that we get to know you a little bit better. So, Joe, how long have you been in the business for?
I'm currently in my 7th year right now. Just got my brokered license end of last year. Actually became a co-broker, co-owner of Allied this year. So
wonderful, wonderful. So tell us what you do when you're not clocked in. What are some of your favorite hobbies, activities?
well, when I'm not clocked in, I always enjoy just spending time with my family. That's first and foremost. We enjoy going out fishing, going out and just enjoying nature is huge. We also like to give back to our communities as much as possible. Got a couple different ways that we do that. First thing is in 2016, Kira and I actually came up with a program called Splash Out Hunger. We rent out local pools and anybody can come swim for free in exchange for food or monetary donation. And everything that is donated actually stays in that local community. So goes to, the 2 that we've been doing lately has been Hartford and Mayville. So everything that's donated in Hartford stays in the Hartford community. Everything donated in Mayville stays in the Mayville community. Or sometimes if they're a little stocked up, then we'll go like Horicon or Lemire or somewhere close. We want to keep it close by. And then we also do match pound for pound up to 1,000 pounds at each one of the events. So since inception, we're just under 35,000 pounds of food that we've donated to local food pantries. We also do work closely with Support the Troops Hartford. If you don't know who they are, what we do is we actually send out care packages to individuals who are deployed. And so if you know anybody who is currently deployed, let me know. I'd love to be able to we'd love to be able to send them off some care packages just so that way they can get they can get something while they're overseas. Or if you just wanted to help, you can reach out and I can give you Leanne's information to reach out to her.
I love that, the last piece that you said, because we do that every year for AWI, the American Warrior Initiative, through Fairway. So we do the same thing every Memorial Day weekend. We have our Cicada Challenge, which is a marathon, a little run, or a bike ride. We're doing it virtually this year because of COVID. But then we also get all of the donations and everything and put them in the boxes for our deployed individuals. So that's awesome. I love hearing that, Joe. So one of the biggest misunderstandings out there are regarding how difficult FHA and VA loans are to work with. So as a client, what are some of the things that we need to look for in a home to make sure that our home can pass FHA and VA standards?
I think it really goes back to just starting off with the right realtor. And I'm not just saying, hey, pat myself on the back, but even the listing agent themselves. I mean, they should have, when they're walking through the house, they should have that list in front of them and say, okay, this house should be able to pass. I mean, we don't know what the appraiser is going to come through and say. For instance, I just had one up in Sheboygan that actually the individual, the appraiser said because there was cracks in the garage, it had to be fixed before being through it. But there are a lot of little things that we as realtors can just look or can just check off right off the bat. You know, the first and foremost that everybody knows about is just that chipping paint that's going around the house. One thing that I've learned the hard way is it's not just the chipping paint that's on the house and on the garage, but even if there's another the little small outbuilding, or I had one appraiser that actually told me that even the clothesline had to be painted because it's just little things like that that you just learn over time, and you go to the appraisals with them just so that way you can learn those things. Another thing that everybody you should have in your house anyways is carbon monoxide and smoke detectors on every level. If there are any stairs that are 3 or more stairway, or that have 3 or more steps, you should hit, or you actually have to have a handrail and then balusters, so that way kids can't fall through. Those are the major things, but I mean, there's a lot of other little things that's talk to your realtor and just make sure that they know what the heck they're looking for. I mean, the first question I have when I'm sitting down with my clients is, okay, what are we pre-approved for? Just so that way I know what to look for. I mean, if it's conventional, or if it's a VA, or if it's FHA, USDA, WIDA, you can go through all these different lists of programs, and they all have their little, they all have little differences. But it really goes back to finding that right realtor that actually knows what the heck's going on first and foremost at the listing, so that way they can come back and say, hey, this is not gonna, or this probably won't pass for FHA, VA. So that way those individuals aren't going there to begin with. Those are things that we as realtors need to just step up our game with and do. So
we have a nice checklist that we give our buyers to make sure, if they're taking a look at those loan options, that they think about ahead of time too. Being prepared, as you well know, is key, especially when looking at a house.
Yeah, and then the other thing as well is the list. Those agents, especially the listing agents, when presenting offers, they can't go in there just saying, hey, this is an FHA, because I had one client, and they're going conventional, but they're 3% down conventional. It's really not that much of a difference when you're looking at yes, the condition is completely different because you don't have to go under government loan standards, but we do, there's so many misconceptions. Just because an individual who's a veteran isn't bringing any, or doesn't have to bring money to the table, doesn't mean that they are less of an individual or less of a strong buyer than that person who has a 20% down. Because who knows, that person might have, that 20% down person might have it in like a cryptocurrency or in the stock market, and could crash at any point. So.
Well, one of the things that you bring up about the VA too is, I mean, it is a right that those individuals have earned to be able to get a VA loan. They deserve it. They fought for you. They came home, or they're still deployed. I've actually had a deal, do a VA loan, a buyer with a VA loan, and he was actually in Kuwait the entire time. He was deployed, and he purchased a home on a VA loan. And I don't like it when sellers sometimes see that, oh, it's a VA, so it's a government loan. Oh, there's no money down, so I don't want this offer. And I mean, if you think about it, they are very deserving of this loan, and that shouldn't be something that you should shy away from. That's my 2 cents, my opinion on it.
I agree.
I agree. We have a cover letter that we send with our pre-approvals that kind of goes in detail and explains more of it, and again, educates the seller's agent as well as the seller themselves. So with that kind of going on, what do you think, Joe, are some suggestions that you would give to your buyers to think about after you close on a home?
Well, I always say there's 5 things that I tell people right when I start working with them. They laugh at a couple of them, but number 1 is the first thing you do when you buy a house. Nathan, sorry, my son's home. He's just playing in the background. First thing you should do right when you buy a house is, first and foremost, is change locks, because just because you're getting those keys doesn't mean that that's all the keys that are out there. They might have forgot that they gave a key to the neighbor. Second and third are, you're going to paint and you're going to do flooring. Number 4 is, if there's a sump pump in that basement, change it out, because that lifespan right off the bat is 5 to 7 years. And then the last thing, just because most people don't think about it, change out the toilet seat. that's just yucky to think about. But yes, those are the 5 things I tell people. And first and foremost, do not start, if you start moving in and you don't paint the house or you don't change the flooring, you're never going to do it until it's time to sell, just because now it's an extra step. So
that is very true about the painting piece. I'm going to go to that one first. Is that we just moved in August, and that was the very first thing we did, because it's like we're still in transition mode, so we haven't settled anything in its place yet. So it's easily movable for us. And now that everything's painted, it's like, I'm never going to move any of this stuff again. This isn't staying this color forever. And thank you for your last suggestion, because I think that on my closing bags, I might have to add toilet seats for everybody. I never would have thought about that, but it makes a lot of sense. Yes. I mean, you do a deep clean, but I would change it now that you're saying that. So
yeah.
So according to USDA.gov, a report came out on January 20th, 2021, said that there is an estimated 1 in 10 homeowners are behind on their mortgage, with the foreclosure moratorium being extended until June 30th. What are some options to those who are behind on their mortgage?
Well, first and foremost, I mean, talk to your lender. I don't know any lender who really wants to foreclose on them. You know, they're always willing to work, whether it is refinance, give Chris or Rebecca a call, or on the other hand, or it's just say, hey, let's back end the load. All we have to do is pay for it, because the statistics when you go behind on your mortgage by 2 or more months are ridiculous. I mean, it just skyrockets to the fact that you're not going to be able to get back on track. Now, with the foreclosure moratorium, they have said that lenders can't just foreclose on them. They have to give them an option. But again, now you're looking at that option of adding almost a second mortgage onto your property to try and get yourself caught back up, where you could be making that extra payment, or just even the interest-only payments if you talk to the lender. Because again, lenders don't want to. And when I first bought my first house, you know what, I got into a little bit of hardship, and I gave the lender a call, and you know what we did was we just added on, I think it was 2 payments onto the end. It happens. We all get into that position to do it. If that's really not an option for you, then give a realtor, give me or give your realtor a call, and because right now the housing market hasn't been hotter. If you look at it and say, there's no way I'm getting out of this, give us a call. And, I have a great amount of people that, in my office that can help you out as well, just to walk through your house, give you an idea of what it's worth. And you know what, you could sell your house, walk away with it, walk away free and clear without messing up your credit, because once that foreclosure hits, or because right now I don't believe you can put that onto the credit score, right? Is that correct? The moratorium can't be added to your credit score. So, I mean, if you can sell right now, save your credit score, cash out, have extra cash in your pocket, and then, sit back, get yourself in a better financial position. Why not? Because once the moratorium hits, who knows what's going to happen? I do have my own ideas, but that's
My next question, as far as a realtor, as far as your opinion, what do you think will happen after the moratorium ends?
Well, actually, not only as a realtor, but also as an investor, I do think that about 6 or 8 months after we see the moratorium end, I believe that they're talks of adding or extending out to September. But those individuals who are just sitting on the sidelines, not paying their mortgages, they're just going to be so swamped down that the foreclosures are just going to start up. And I do think we're going to see a wave of foreclosures hit about 6 to 8 months afterwards. But hopefully those individuals give us a call beforehand and either back or put the payments on the back end, or just get out from underneath it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's everyone's opinion. I want to make sure that this is our opinion. This is not like what's actually going to happen. So, I mean, I also am on board with Joe. I do believe that after the moratorium is over, there is going to be a spike in foreclosures, but everyone is so focused back in 2008, back in 2008. Well, this is nothing. We've said it before. This is nothing like 2008. In 2008, we had very loose lending practices. We gave anybody who could breathe a loan. So that is not what we're doing now. So we make sure that before we give you a loan, we are pretty confident that you are going to be making those payments back to us. Now, did we think a pandemic was going to hit? No, we didn't think so. But one of the differences too is that there's so much equity in people's homes that even if you can't make your payment, you should be able to sell and either walk away or have money in your pocket, because home values are appreciating. So not only that, but home values are appreciating. So if you do get yourself stuck in a situation that you can't seem to get out of, selling might be an option too. And that doesn't mean that you're going to be underwater on your house because of the home appreciation. So I want people to understand that yes, most likely there's going to be a spike in foreclosures. No, it's not going to be 2008, and you're probably not going to lose value in your home. It's probably going to plateau a little bit because we're going like this with home appreciation. It might go like this now. That is my prediction on what's going to happen. I don't know what Chris's is.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see the vast majority of foreclosures, short sales that we saw from 2008 to 2012. I mean, that was quite a bit. Market's totally different as far as on the credit market side of things. I would agree with Rebecca. Way back when, anybody with a pulse could get a loan. Totally different circumstances. So, but the good news is that we can kind of keep you in tune as our show progresses on, as how that be for the future.
I think the other thing that might do as well is the foreclosures that hit might actually help us out. So it's not so much as a seller's market as it was before. We will be able to, because I have contractor friends that are telling me right now they're seeing so many people that are remodeling their house, just kind of like what was happening between, in Wisconsin between 10 and 14 roughly, where people were just modifying their homes so that way because they can't sell. A lot of sellers, they can't sell because they're afraid of not finding the house. Well, now with that foreclosure, the foreclosure push that hopefully doesn't happen, but probably will happen about 6 to 8 months afterwards. We might be able to see a lot more sellers be able to put their house on the market because now they will be able to buy a house because people will be accepting that home sale contingency again.
Yep, I agree with that. I'm hoping. I work with a lot of first-time home buyers in down payment assistance programs, and it's a very, very competitive market for them right now. And anything that you can do to put yourself above anybody else, contact myself and Chris, and we'll make that as attractive as possible for your offer being accepted. But hopefully there will be more houses on the market here in the next year or two so that it's not as bad. But Joe, do you have any last thoughts you want to leave with our viewers today?
Just because the housing market's crazy the way it is, you know what? Just keep on going out there and looking. We are probably going to see an uptick. I've been hearing in the next about 7 to 10 days, just in homes going on the market, more because of the temperatures starting to rise up. Now people are really going to get out there, but get out there early, talk to your lender, talk to Chris, talk to Rebecca, get pre-approved, just so that way we can jump on it right away. Because the longer you wait, the more people are going to be doing it. Because right now the herd mentality is you have probably about another 3 weeks before those individuals who stop looking for winter are going to come back on the market, and it's a crazy market at that point.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying. I have some buyers who are like, oh, I'll just wait until spring market. And I was like, well, that's going to be you and a ton of other people. So there may be more listings out there, but there's going to be more buyers out there too. So the competition could still be exactly the same the way it is.
So Joe, what is the best place if a customer is looking to have a real estate agent, what is the best place for them to get a hold of you?
You could always just well, friend me on Facebook, just Joe Schulteis. I'm okay with, I have a pretty open Facebook. Even if you're not my friend, I have people follow me and like my stuff all the time. Like my page, Joe Schulteis, Allied Realty Group, or give me a call or shoot me a text. Telephone number is 262-224-0092.
Perfect. What we'll do is we'll also put your link into our viewing area here for us to connect with you that much faster. So, well, thank you so
Awesome.
much for being our guest. You gave us a wealth of information. It's always good to get a real estate agent's perspective on things. So viewers, what do you want to learn? What do you want to know? We're always looking to hear from you. So please feel free to message us as far as if you have any topics of interest. We have some really great shows coming up here over the next couple weeks. Our springtime areas are booking fast if you wanted to be a guest. I think we're booking already into May, Rebecca, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yes, we are.
also, if you find this show of interest, please feel free to forward on to your friends, family members, and co-workers. And tune in on next Saturday at 10 a.m. where we'll have another great show. One quick thing, Rebecca and I talked about our budget show that we had on a couple weeks ago. We have a budget worksheet. If you're interested in that, also message us. Be more than happy to send it to you free of charge.
Yes, perfect. Thank you everyone again for tuning in. We truly appreciate it. Thanks again, Joe, for being on. We loved everything that you had to say. My biggest takeaway is that toilet seat. I'm just saying, that's what stuck with me here. So we're gonna go through our compliance here real quick. Your home show is sponsored by CG Home Loan Partners, a Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, NMLS number 2289. We are licensed in Minnesota, Wisconsin, and California. Chris Weniger, NMLS number 225608. Rebecca Guerrero, NMLS number 1728384. And Carrie Guerrero, NMLS number 209015. Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation is an equal housing opportunity. This is not an offer to enter into an agreement. Not all customers will qualify. Information, rates, and programs are subject to change without notice. All products are subject to credit and property approval. So find us on Facebook at Your Home Show. If you've not done so already, like us, comment, follow. We're also on YouTube at Your Home Show. We'd love to hear from you. If you want to be a guest, please reach out to us, and we will see you all next Saturday at 10 a.m. Same time, same place. So we will learn more about what's going on in the mortgage and real estate world. So thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next week.